Hello, everybody. Welcome to, I guess, our first ever full discussion stream. I am Gina, aka the Chu-Chu. I hope you guys are doing well. My allergies have been killing me. I'm getting over like a week plus long allergy attack. It's been, oh girl, it's the thing. But, today, guys, we are here to have a little discussion about something that I'm very passionate about, which is Mass Effect. So today, February 2nd, 2021, we got a ton of information about the upcoming Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I pulled a bunch of info from a bunch of different sources. And I wanted to kind of discuss it, share my thoughts, invite people to potentially come into the stream and chat if you want to chat. Some people may not come into the stream, that's fine. I was going to originally do this as just like a straight up YouTube video, but I figured why not go live in case people want to pop in and say hello and chat. Disregard the stuff you see in the chat right now. I was testing stuff. I got my new hard drive. I got a solid state drive for the first time. My computer is nice and fast and zippy. Of course, when I installed and re-imported all of my streaming stuff, a good chunk of it did not work as intended, so that was me kind of working out the final kinks, but we're back, things are working, we're up and running, I'm very excited. I apologize for the lack of makeup. You're getting an all-natural Gina today. We here on Long Island are buried in 2 feet of snow currently, and it's not cute, so I'm not cute today either. I just have some lip gloss on, and that was the most that I could force myself to put on. So I wrote down a bunch of my thoughts. I have sources to pull up. I have all this stuff going on in my brain parts. So I'm gonna start from the top and see what my thoughts are. We'll go through all of the information. So first of all, you guys know Mass Effect, awesome series created by BioWare. It's a kind of action shooter RPG set in space, and it is my favorite game trilogy of all time. People have been asking for a remaster or remake for many years, and then they announced on N7 Day last year in 2020 that a remaster called the Mass Effect Legendary Edition would be coming out. It was supposed to come out in February, then it was supposed to come out in March, and now we've been given an official release date of May 14th, 2021. I have no idea why it got pushed back that way, but it did. It is what it is. So that is kind of where we begin. Was we got a release date that is huge. So May 14th is going to be the day. We're definitely going to be streaming it here on my channel. I'm super excited to do so for people who are part of the community who haven't experienced Mass Effect to experience it for the first time along with us, and I'm excited to see all the different changes that are going to be in the Legendary Edition, which is part of what we wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about with you guys today. So I have a bunch of stuff written down here. I tried to organize it in some sort of way. I have no idea if it's going to come off as organized, so I'm just going to kind of talk off the top of my head. So the first thing I want to talk about, hey Jubal Tees, what's up, girl? How are you? So first we want to talk about what it is coming out on. It is coming out on Xbox, it is coming out on PlayStation, and it is coming out on PC, on Origin, and Steam. This is a little weird, however. There are 2 things I wanted to specifically mention about the way that this is being released. One is that they specifically said, I'm great, thank you, Jubilees. One of the things that I feel like is worth mentioning is that they specifically they specifically went out of their way to focus on the console ports, which immediately kind of puts me on tilt a little bit, because I feel like things never go right when they try to release a game on consoles and PC, and they're like, oh, we're really concentrating on the console port, because then that means, like, you're just gonna half-ass the PC port. And they really should be totally separate animals. but they don't like to do that because they're lazy and want to save time and money. And don't want to give realistic release dates. But they did say that the previous gen consoles, so I guess that would be Xbox One and PS4, is basically what the game is going to be quote-unquote released for, but it will be forwards compatible with the newer Xboxes and the PlayStation 5. It's not going to upscale or anything like that, but it will be, hey camera, do you want to focus? Thank you. But it will be, forwards compatible. So you'll be able to play it on both the last gen consoles and previous, current gen consoles, that is. I know we are in a new gen for everything. I get why they wanted to do that, but, you know, I thought that was worth mentioning. And also, I kind of got my mind blown today, and I know you guys may laugh and be like, Gina, this has been going on for a while. I didn't know, okay? I guess I'm sweet, innocent little fake gamer, but I saw that it was available on Origin and Steam, and I much prefer Steam, so I was like, yeah, I want to buy it on Steam. And I saw a message on the Steam page that says that it requires Origin to be installed and running when you play it on Steam. And I was like, but if you play on Steam, why you need Origin? I want to buy it on Steam so I don't have to deal with Origin. And apparently, all of my friends that I talked to told me that this is a thing that has been going on for a while, and not just with EA. Apparently, Ubisoft does this where you have to have Uplay running to play the Assassin's Creed games on Steam. Like, apparently this is a thing. That boggles my fucking mind. I have an Origin account and everything, so, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but I don't have Origin installed on my new hard drive yet, and I was kind of hoping to put it off. But I guess not. I guess it's not happening anymore because I can't play Legendary Edition even if I buy it on Steam. It also appears from the, kind of, fine print that I read on the Steam website that if you purchase it on Steam, it will count as a purchase both for your Steam and Origin account because you have to have them linked together. So I guess that's kind of cool. You know, I know that, like, you know, if you buy a game on Xbox, you don't have it for PlayStation, and I guess it's not really technically cross-console, but it is cross-software. You know what I mean? Like, they're both on PC, but Steam and Origin are two different things, but I guess they're giving it to you on both platforms, which I guess is kind of cool. But I personally don't like the fact that you have to run Origin with it, but I'm not surprised because EA is EA. So, a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Let me just throw some stuff up out of my brain parts. So some general stuff that I found on the internet that I wanted to talk about. First thing, all of these games are now on the Unreal 3 engine. I know that people were expecting it to be on the Unreal 4 engine, but they apparently had some issues with it and just kind of decided, like, it will run better on Unreal 3 if we get all 3 games on there, and it would be a lot less work. Which I guess I kind of understand. I don't hate the Unreal 3 engine, so I'm not really mad about it. Another thing that they specifically said is that they sped up the game engine, which means, oh my god, guys, no more elevator load screens! Thank you, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the Lamb. I am so excited for that. I've watched a ton of videos today. I watched some sort of video with somebody who, was watching a hands-off demo, and, they said that they actually put side by side, like, the original load time versus, like, the load time for the Legendary Edition, and, like, as the players on, like, the original edition were still, like, in the elevator, like, the people in the Legendary Edition were, like, running around on the Citadel already doing things, so they sped it up quite a bit, which I'm excited about. There's no reason to have those covering the load scenes anymore. Not on, you know, current gen software, for sure. Let's see. Obviously, there's going to be updated graphics and lighting. They are going 4K Ultra HD. So if you are somebody who is very into that high quality stuff, you have a 4K monitor, it's going to take advantage of that. There's going to be no ray tracing. This is running on DirectX, I believe, 11 and not 12, because 12 has ray tracing. And it's going to support ultra-wide monitors. So if you are somebody that has an ultra-wide monitor, you're going to get to see those long vistas on all the planets and everything. They have that set up so that people who have those big monitors can take advantage of it, which I think is pretty great. Lens flares for days! Lens flares for days. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter being like, why did they add all these lens flares? And I'm like, girl, Mass Effect been having a shit ton of lens flares. Where have you been? Especially in the first game. Oh my god, they're everywhere. So that's pretty cool as well. Something else new that's coming for the PC version is full controller support. The games did not have any controller support on PC up until the Legendary Edition. So if you are somebody who maybe used to play on console and now wants to get it for PC, and you're used to the, the controller schematics, or you just prefer playing games on a controller but you're a PC gamer, that's there for you now. That's going to be something that's available, which I think is pretty cool. They have an updated interface and UI. I haven't seen much of it, except there were these two pictures that they put side by side that I'm sure you can see if you go online. They have one of the Mako, and it shows, like, in the lower left you have the old user interface, which has, like, everybody in the party's health bars, and then, like, a picture of the Mako with, like, the health bar underneath. And then on the newer version, you see in the corner, it's just a picture of the Mako with a little health bar underneath, and the radar is a little bit smaller as well. So they've kind of streamlined the UI to make it look nicer and be a little less busy. They took stuff that was lying out on, like, the sides of the screen and brought them in a little bit. Yeah, it looks like a lot of the visual stuff they're trying to emulate off of Mass Effect 2, I guess, to kind of bring like a middle ground between, Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 3. They figured, why don't we meet in the middle? But the new UI stuff that I did see looked pretty promising. We have new camera and controls for the Mako. Once again, can we please praise the gaming gods? We all know that the Mako is a problem child and has always been a problem child. I love the Mako. It's hilarious to drive on sometimes, but on subsequent playthroughs, it's just painful. Like, it's super painful. But hopefully it will not be that way anymore. We will have better, tighter Mako controls. I'm interested to see what that's going to be like. And another thing that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to touch on was they are touting a unified character creator. Yeah, part of me is gonna miss the Mako 2 jewelties. That was part of its charm a little bit, but it is kind of annoying, in all honesty. So as far as the unified character creator is concerned, we all know that the character creators have given us trouble in the past. Importing your characters from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3 has been a bunch of trouble from the get-go. Especially with Mass Effect 3, I remember people were getting, like, bold characters with, like, all this weird coloring. Like, it just wasn't importing right, and it was a little wonky. I like that they took the opportunity to release a remastered trilogy to fix that and make it a little more cohesive. I've seen that they made the default Commander Shepard across all 3 games more unified. They're adding some more makeup options and more hair options. They specifically called out more hair options for, like black hairstyles, which gets a round of applause. We need more inclusivity. You guys know, if you watched my Mass Effect streams in the past, that we enjoy playing characters of color in these kinds of games. I usually leave the choices up to the people that are in the chat, and everybody's always wanting more characters of color, so I'm really excited that that's going to be added, and that there could be more inclusivity, and that we can get some better looking Shepards of color, because sometimes the skin tones were a little rough in the original trilogy, but hopefully that will be better. Yes, they're going to have some better skin tones too. So that's really exciting as well. I'm hoping we'll get rid of the duck lips that the original Mass Effect gave you. That would be really nice. And I'm also interested to see what new faces people come up with the new character creator. Okay, so some more stuff that I wanted to list. There was an article released by Eurogamer which had a couple of interesting points that I wanted to bring up. This is stuff that I just kind of copy pasted, so some of it might be, you know, me repeating myself. I'll try to skip over that. Oh, here's something that I thought was interesting. An experience rebalance in Mass Effect 1. You can hit the level cap now without being in New Game Plus. I think that's kind of cool. I liked the New Game Plus stuff in the original trilogy. Normally you would get an XP boost and also get a bunch of, like, money and resources and stuff for replaying the game, which I always thought was a really cool bonus. It helps take some of the annoyance out of subsequent playthroughs, makes it a little more friendly, user-friendly, gives it a little more quality of life. But I think it's interesting that they went out of their way to balance the experience. More consistent auto-saves. Nobody's going to complain about that. Improved boss encounters. Don't know how they're going to improve them. I don't know exactly what that means, but hey. Less cooldown for first aid. Once again, thank you, gaming gods. Things that we needed. The first aid cooldowns were painful, especially in the original Mass Effect. And less mini-games. So, I assume what they mean about mini-games, like if you think about mini-games in Mass Effect, you think about the hacking, the lockpicking, the casino games, you know, like that stupid, like ring game to try and hack into, the base on Novaria, you know, stuff like that. So it looks like they're cutting out some of that, which some people can maybe take or leave. I'm not too angry about it. Yeah, AI for the bosses. Okay, yeah, that would be cool to see some improved AI for the bosses. I would be happy with that. Here's some stuff that I found listed straight from a video that GameSpot did. Mass Effect 1 will now have a dedicated melee button. Again, not angry at that. I never really did a lot of melee in Mass Effect 1 because it was a little awkward, so I'm not upset about that. Across the trilogy, they are rebalancing weapons, especially in Mass Effect 1. That would be kind of cool, too. I felt like a lot of stuff was sort of interchangeable, and I just, like, looked at whatever had a higher number, just slapped it on somebody without really thinking about it in Mass Effect 1. So that will be kind of cool to see that. They're getting Mass Effect 2 style controls across the trilogy, so they're trying to unify the control schematics across the whole trilogy. Again, I don't mind it because when you play the games back to back to back, it can be a little jarring with the control changes. And it looks like they're gunning more for the way that the controls were in Mass Effect 2, which I think is really awesome. Let's see. What else do we have here that I wanted to mention? Oh, enemy AI and squad AI improvements. So not only are we going to see AI improvements in enemies and boss fights, but also within our party members. Again, should be kind of cool. Whenever I think about the party AI, I think about the Archangel quest in Mass Effect 2. I'm going to try to not spoil for anybody that's watching this who hasn't been through the trilogy yet, but there's a quest involving someone called the Archangel in Mass Effect 2, where you have to rush through this room and close these shutters, and there is one particular room that is just a bunch of boxes flooded with enemies. Every single time I walk in there, the AI for my squad mates breaks, and they just stand at the front of the room and don't do anything unless I jam on the button for them to follow me constantly. And I hate it. It is frustrating. I would love for that to not be the case anymore. I don't know if I'm the only one that experienced that in that particular part. But I did, especially with, and I know you love him, Jubaltees, I love him too, but Zaid particularly gives me problems in that room, and I don't know why. I always wind up bringing him, and then I regret it, because I'm like, he's broken and won't follow me. It's a little frustrating, but hopefully little things like that can be improved with these AI improvements. Animation bug fixes for Mass Effect 1. I don't really recall any animation bugs off the top of my head that I personally have run into in Mass Effect 1. But fixing that kind of stuff is always a good thing, so I'm not going to be mad at it. Let's see. There's going to be less, not only will they be less mini games across all 3 games, but they're trying to make them universal across all 3 games. So, you know, maybe we'll see the same hacking mini game in all 3 games rather than them being different in each one. Mass Effect 1, I hated the hacking mini games with like where you have to like get the arrow through the circle. I hated that one. Mass Effect 2 I think was my favorite. Mass Effect 3 kind of ditched them all together in a weird way. Like there wasn't really anything in Mass Effect 3. There wasn't really any mini games to do that stuff with. Yeah, exactly, Jubal Tease. Yeah, I would never order squad mates around because it never really worked very well. I would never touch like sending your squad, you know, to different I never touch that kind of stuff. Let's see, an improved combat camera for Mass Effect 1, not a bad thing. Some new makeup and hairstyle, we already talked about that. And the adjustments on FemShop, we also already talked about that. Okay, so let's move on to some more specific visual changes that I found. Tone mapping, we're gonna have tone mapping, anti-aliasing, awesome. Volumetrics and fog FX, depths of field and bokeh. If you don't know what bokeh is, B-O-K-E-H, you should look into it. It's kind of interesting. We're gonna have bloom, we're gonna have subsurface scattering, we're gonna have ambient occlusion, lots of different little things that are going to kind of come together to make a better visual experience, especially for the earlier games. I would imagine are going to really get super interesting in that way, and we're going to be seeing like a big change. So some other stuff I wanted to mention. There's a universal launcher that is going to be with this. So, every game is going to be a separate application that I think you're going to have to install separately, but it has one launcher. So you can launch it and choose which one of the 3 games you want to jump into. Which I think is kind of a cool idea. You might as well if you're shipping all 3 games together. The DLC. I have a list of the DLC here. I want to list you guys all of the DLC so that you can hear every single thing from me. And then we're going to talk about the DLC for a very quick moment. The DLC that we are going to be having. Weapon and armor packs. The Equalizer pack, the Aegis pack, the Firepower pack, the Cerberus weapon and armor packs, the Arc Projector, one of my favorites, the Mass Effect 2 alternate appearance packs 1 and 2, the Firefight pack, and the Groundside Resistance pack. We're also getting a bunch of promo stuff, the Recon Operations pack, Collector's weapon and armor, Terminus weapon and armor, the M29 and Scissor, the Blood Dragon armor, a personal favorite of mine. I love that they throw Dragon Age references into this game like that sometimes. The Inferno armor, the Recon hood, the Sentry interface, the Umbra visor, the N7 Warfare gear, the AT-12 Raider, the Chakram launcher, another fun one, the M55 Argus, the M90 Indra, and the Reckoner Knight armor. So that is a bunch of the promos, visuals, kind of stuff. I never bought any of that DLC personally. I stuck to just like the story and character-based DLC, so I'm interested to see how cool that stuff looks and get to play around with it. I think that would be really fun. So I'm excited to see those. But now let's talk about the big DLC. Okay. We have Genesis and Genesis 2, which I think is kind of interesting. For those guys who don't know what Genesis and Genesis 2 are, they are kind of quote-unquote DLC. They're basically, like interactive comic books that are supposed to summarize the plot of the previous Mass Effect games. So if you just want to jump into Mass Effect 2 and don't want to bother with Mass Effect 1, but you need a refresher on the storyline, Genesis would be what you would want to load up to see that. Being that all 3 games come together, I think it's interesting that they bothered to put Genesis in there, but okay, if you want. from the first Mass Effect, we have Bring Down the Sky. There is another original Mass Effect DLC called, oh my god, it just left my mind. I've been talking about it literally all day. And the name just flew out of my mind. Pinnacle Station. So, Pinnacle Station, if you've never played it, is kind of like... It's a kind of similar to, like the combat arena that you get in the Citadel DLC in Mass Effect 3. It's like this space station that's also like, it has all these like different maps that you can do all these fighting challenges on. There's like capture the flag and like survival modes and kind of interesting stuff. The storyline is kind of bare bones there. It's more about the gameplay. I thought it was strange that they picked this DLC to not be in there. It's I think the only one that's really missing. But upon digging into the internet a little bit, I learned that when they went to port the original Mass Effect to the PlayStation 3, when they released the Trilogy Collection a couple years back, they found that the code for the Pinnacle Station, the source data, was corrupted. And so they were never able to really get it working, so they decided to leave it out for the Legendary Edition. So that's the reason. I get it. You know, but it is worth noting, I think, that it is not there. From Mass Effect 2, we have Zaid, The Price of Revenge. Bless up, we love Zaid around here. Kasumi, Stolen Memory. You know I also love Kasumi. Team DLC is my favorite. I love them. Lair of the Shadow Broker, incredibly important. The Firewalker pack, which I hate the fucking Firewalker stuff, but that's okay. It should be in there. Overlord, which is deeply disturbing, but very, enjoyable nonetheless. The Normandy Crash Site, which will tear your heart out and stomp on it. And Arrival, which is necessary to understand the way Mass Effect 3 starts, and I don't know why it was ever made an optional DLC. If they were going to have you know what happens in it to understand why Mass Effect 3 starts the way it does, but it's there, thank God. So hopefully people who are new to the series will not get confused when they start up Mass Effect 3. And as far as Mass Effect 3 is concerned, we have From Ashes, which is the DLC that introduces Javik, the Mass Effect 3 Extended Cut, Leviathan, Omega, and Citadel. So all of the big story DLC and all of the fun little odds and ends are here. It's over 40 pieces of DLC. You're going to get all the good story stuff, thank God. You're going to get access to all of the characters, thank God, as you should. This was something I was really kind of worried about because any opportunity to make money that EA will take, it can get. So I am really excited. You've never played Leviathan? It is very much worth playing. The storyline is really interesting and it'll kind of blow your mind a little bit, and the gameplay is also really fun. I highly recommend the Leviathan DLC. It's fun. It's a good time. So that's the DLC situation there. Something else that I wanted to mention was there's going to be a rebalance of the galactic readiness in Mass Effect 3. Where you don't have to play multiplayer, obviously, because multiplayer is not a part of it, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a second. There's no Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, so they rebalanced it so that you don't need the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, even though you didn't really need it. They rebalanced it when they first released Mass Effect 3, but not only will you be able to get all of the endings, or the best ending, with your galactic readiness, but playing through the entire trilogy will apparently also make it easier. According to what I read. So that'll be interesting. And like I said before, there's no multiplayer. I get why they wanted to leave the multiplayer out, but the original Mass Effect 3's multiplayer is still active because it was actually really, really great. And I don't know why they didn't just keep it around. It would have been a good revival, and they probably could have made more money off of some of the... they don't really have loot boxes in there, but like you can buy some stuff with real money, but you don't really need to. Like, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer came out before multiplayer just became like an avenue to sell shit. Right? I would have loved for them to rework it too. I loved Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I played hundreds and hundreds of hours of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. So I'm personally kind of sad that they left it out, actually, but I guess I kind of get why they wanted to. Yeah, I played the ever-loving hell of it. You and me both, Queen. I'm telling you. Seriously, you and me both. So some other stuff I wanted to read through. Lovely Jubal Tees posted some stuff in our Discord from the actual official website. So I want to see if there's depth of field. I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting here. Modernized PC experience across all three games with native controller and 21:9 widescreen support, which is what we talked about before with the super wide monitors. User interface navigation improves DirectX 11 compatibility. Supports ultra-high refresh rates on PC to offers a choice between favorite quality for increased resolution or favorite frame rate to boost your FPS on consoles. Okay, so they're trying to balance that. New Shepherd customization, so they're saying improved hair, makeup, eye color, and skin tones. You can create your Shepherd in a unified character created with all options available across the full trilogy, or choose to play as the iconic Fen Shep from Mass Effect 3, now available in all titles. Yeah, so that's what I said before when I said they reworked the default Fem Shep. They kind of took the Mass Effect 3 one and tried to make it uniform, because it was not in the original. I also wanted to bring up the official Steam page. There's going to be Steam achievements, like we said, full controller support. I already talked about you having to still have Origin. All of this is pretty much the same stuff. List of all the DLC. A full world building pass, including environmental art, visual effects, and level relighting. And we should have all of our choices and everything also shift over, which is kind of for the kind of the norm. As far as the price is concerned, it is $59.99, so it is new game price. But considering that they had to put a ton of work into it to remaster it, and that all of the DLC is included in it as well, that is also, you assume, been reworked and remastered along with the rest of it, I think that's a fair price. I don't think they could have gone any higher with it. It would have been nice to see them go a little lower at like a $40 price point. But considering all of the work that they put into it, I get that price, and I think it's fair enough. So I'm not too terribly mad at it. There is a Legendary Cash Edition that is $149 and does not come with the game. This is something that I hate that has been happening in the game world lately, where they release these special editions of games with all of this cool extra stuff in it, and the game is not included. And you're like, well, then how is that a special edition of the game if the game isn't included? But they did not market this as a edition of the game. They just called it the Legendary Cash. So I feel like that's fair enough, and they make it very clear in the description at several points that the game is not included. So that's just extra stuff if you're interested in it. Hello, Rico Hard. You're sad about what you would like to see Portuguese subtitles. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be doing subtitles for different languages. I would like to hope so. Because it should get different language subtitles. I'm not sure what they're doing with that. I haven't heard anything about it. They give you the case so you can pretend you have the game. Yeah, it's so stupid. It really is so stupid. Like, they give you a game case with no game in it. And it's not an edition of the game, they just give it to you. It's just kind of strange. But anyway, yeah, that's all the information that I kind of got together on the Legendary Edition. Like I said before, it's going to release May 14th, $59.99. I think it's a fair enough price. I'm more excited for it than I thought I was going to be. There's not as many changes as I wish there were. There are a lot of other things that I would have liked to have seen changed. I would have liked to have seen them go out of their way to say that they're changing the inventory system for Mass Effect 1, because the inventory system for Mass Effect 1 is garbage. I would have loved to see them go out of their way to say that they're working on the journal system, the quest journal system for Mass Effect 3, because the quest journal in Mass Effect 3 is garbage. I mean, I'm hoping that they will rework some of that stuff better, but they haven't gone out of their way to say it, and they did go out of their way to say some other specific things like the Mako and whatnot. So I would think that they would mention those things in particular if they were part of the changes that they were making. I know that they did say that they were thinking about restoring some cut content that never made it into the game, but it wound up, they said it would wind up being too difficult and it would, you know, become like a whole issue. So they decided to not do that, which I think is fair enough. There are no changes to the characters. There are no changes to the storyline. There's not going to be any new ending that is actually good. I'm sorry. The ending to Mass Effect 3 is going to be as terrible as it always was. That's just the way it's going to be. This is not a kind of thing where they're fixing the ending. So if that's something that's on your mind, please don't even go down that road, because you're going to be disappointed. But I'm really excited to see where this trilogy goes as far as this remaster is. I'm excited to rediscover the game with all this newer stuff and see how much of an impact I feel it makes. I'm excited to see people who have never played the trilogy play it for the first time. There is an enormous amount of people that I've seen say they haven't played it, which kind of shocks me. And I'm really excited to see people jump into it, experience it for the first time. Yeah, Jubilees, yeah, Shepard rides off into the sunset with her boyfriend Garrus, and everything's fine, and nothing hurts, and the story comes to a satisfying conclusion that nobody could ever argue or fight about ever. The end. Anyway, I just thought it would be fun to go live for a little bit and talk about my thoughts on the Legendary Edition that came up, because it was so much information. I was like, oh my god, like there's all this stuff going on and I have all these thoughts on it. I'm excited to see what's in store. I will be purchasing it. We are going to be streaming it here on the channel, so definitely come and hang out with us on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm going to upload this to YouTube. Definitely take a look out from that. With the long elevator ride jokes from Mass Effect 2, maybe they'll still keep them in there. Yeah, new players may not get them, but maybe they'll keep them in there for nostalgia's sake. Maybe they'll keep them in there for nostalgia's sake. I don't know. Because they do make those jokes. And I wonder if they're going to rework the Omnigel system as well, because they make some jokes about Omnigel in Mass Effect 1 as well. Well, they don't make jokes, and they make jokes in the other Mass Effect games about the Omnigel in Mass Effect 1. But yeah. Yeah. Don't you remember the good old days you could just slap Omnigel on everything? No, not after Mass Effect 1. Not after Mass Effect 1. Yeah, so those are just some of my thoughts. I figured I would share them with you guys, chat a little bit about it. I'm excited for it. It'll be hitting our channel here on Twitch, and I'll be uploading them to YouTube as well when the game comes out, and I'm really excited for that. For now, my allergies are killing me, and I think I'm gonna go bash myself in the head a bunch until I fall asleep. Because I feel like garbage. But maybe I'll just slap some Omni Gel on it and I'll feel better. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming to hang out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you watch this on YouTube, you should come hang out with us in the Discord. Come hang out with us on Twitch. It's a good time. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm excited to see where this goes, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. Thanks, Jubilees. Thanks for joining me, and thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you all very soon. Have a lovely, lovely evening.